I mean, then you come to Atlanta in the 90s and you have totally, I mean, when you talk about cemented yourself in the musical landscape of Atlanta, you cannot talk about Atlanta R&B music. You can't talk about R&B music and not mention Bryan-Michael Cox.
Yeah.
And that is, you came in at a time where it just felt different in Atlanta.
Well, I think ultimately, yeah, it felt different, but I think it was a time of discovery. You know, Atlanta was on fire, or was actually beginning to be even more on fire, because Atlanta had already, by the time I got here, Atlanta was already popping.
So
They were already popping by the time I got here. And it was already like, it was like a big, big deal to be here. But I just feel like timing is everything. I feel like I just came in at a time when it was just like, I came to the city where it was just like getting ready to like take off into this like stratosphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just was blessed to be a part of that, that transition. You know what I mean? Getting with a proper team, I just think that just was all, it was all God. It wasn't, it was definitely all God. So,
It was divine, but your work ethic, I want you to talk about this, because everybody wants to be the one that's name is in lights and gets to be on the list now of the top producers of the century, of the 21st century, of the decade, and 38 number one hits and all of that.
Yeah.
But when you started off, you were like, you don't even got to pay me. Just give me the keys and the alarm code, and I'm going to show up because I want to work.
I mean, because, my question was always, what else are you doing? Outside of pursuing whatever you want to pursue. Like, you got 24 hours in one day. You came to Atlanta to do this. I mean, obviously, you came for college, but I was studying music education in college. So what was I going to do? I was going to be a music teacher or a music producer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, it was like, what else are you doing out here? You know what I mean? Like, you have to make the best of your time out here. And that was kind of like what my head was. Like, I knew I didn't want to go back to Houston. I just knew that whatever was for me, when I got here, whatever was for me was here. And it was like, okay, let me really, buckle down and, take advantage of the time that I have here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's basically what happened. For me, I just felt like, I've always felt this way, that, hard work beats talent. There are a lot of talented people. I know a lot of super talented people who at home. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it,
all the way real.
Keep it a buck. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people who are just naturally, gifted, but because sometimes your gift is handicap. It can handicap you because you feel like you're so gifted that somebody's going to give you something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I never took that approach. I always took the approach of like, okay, what can I do to what's the next step? Who can I, and I granted, if you mix that with favor, right?
Yeah.
Then, I mean, cause, some of us have favor. There've been a lot of situations where I've had favor, you know what I mean, where things just happen or just came to me. But I've never taken that. I never take that for granted. I never be like, oh yeah, well, it's just gonna happen. And there's like, yeah, it could just happen, but let me put some work in on top of that
Let me put
to ensure
some work in on top of that.
That whatever I'm trying to get to is going to get there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because people don't even understand. You did background vocals on The Emancipation of Mimi.
I've seen background vocals on a lot of things that I've produced. I think that is just it's just a skill in the studio. And, once Mariah heard me, actually, my very first time working with Mariah, before all of that, we did a song on her Rainbow album in '99. And the very first time I ever worked with Mariah Carey, I sang background on the song. So it was just Mariah as a person that when you are working with her, if she recognizes a extra skill that you have, she's going to utilize it. You know what I mean? So, that's just who she is as a creative, as a songwriter, as a producer, she's gonna use everybody in the room. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, you got a voice. Sing, okay, sing this part. Like she's that. You know what I mean? She's that.
I want you to talk about the songwriting process because during this time, I mean, of course, you wrote on the Jagged Edge album. Of course, your relationship with Jermaine Dupri like totally blossoms, and you all really became a duo. Like
Yeah.
you all worked really really well together.
Yeah.
But I want you to like talk about that songwriting process when you get to Emancipation of Mimi, when you get to the Confessions album with Usher. Where is your headspace? Like, what are you thinking about? Are you only like, I'm just writing all day, every day?
Well, no, I mean it's very, very. It definitely, it definitely varies. You know what I'm saying? You know, different projects per project. You know, you just have to know. I know how to navigate the room, right? I know how to get in where I fit in, right? So in a lot of cases, like for example, when I realized my position, like what my position is supposed to be when writing with Jermaine, was we were doing Let's Get Married, right? So when that was early on. Let's Get Married is probably part of the first batch of records that we actually did together, and I thought going into working with Jermaine that I was just gonna kind of like play on stuff and like we were gonna make beats together and then hand the beats off to writers to write and I didn't really understand what our dynamic would be. And it kind of happened that way. The first record we did was Keys to the Range, where we did the beat, and then Brian and Brandon came and they wrote the song and Jagged Cut. You know what I mean? So it kind of was like a normal thing. But then when we got to Let's Get Married, I realized something that it clicked for me in a way that I had no idea it would. He asked me to start playing some chords, to start playing some different chords, and we found a groove with like a good chord progression, and he started writing the hook. And I was confused at first because I didn't realize that he was going to start writing. I thought we were just doing this for Brian and Brandon to come and they were going to write, the part. I guess that's how it usually works. Brian and Brandon come and they write the song.
Because they write.
They are songwriters.
They are songwriters, yes.
So, but he started writing the hook. And as he's writing, now my brain is thinking back to all of his other records, like other R&B records. And I'm like, oh, he wrote them songs. Like he wrote You Make Me Wanna. Oh, he wrote, Just Kicking It. Oh, because now I can hear the style. Like he's writing, he's just singing out loud, writing. I'm like, oh, okay, he has a style of writing. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the person that provides the musical undertone for what he has to do as a songwriter. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how we started really getting into that mode with me and him, right? And then we get to a place where he would be like, well, we'll be in a room together. And he'll ask me to write. Him writing actually made me start writing more.
Really?
Yeah, because I really didn't before then. I was writing, but then after when I came down there, I got signed to Noontime and I started making making beats and working with people like Jonte and working with Brian and Brandon and working with these incredible songwriters. Then it's like, okay, all I gotta do is focus on producing. You guys, we'll get the song to the finish line. You know what I mean? But when I started working with Jermaine, he brought me back into the writing part of the creation. So, but it varies. You know what I'm saying? It's just you have to know how to navigate the room. For example, that's the Let's Get Married thing is a good example. We work with Mariah. It's a whole nother process. Mariah's a person where we'll come up with a concept, or she'll have a concept. She always has a notebook with. She's always doodling and writing things in a notebook. So she'll have a concept, or we may come up with a concept, and all together. And we're in the room, and there's a mic in the room. And we'll just pass the mic around, and everybody will do melodies, and then she kind of copies and pastes how she, what she wants, what she likes, and then we'll identify what's what. So that's a whole nother process that I didn't really know about until I worked with her. So I learned that process with her, which now I use you know, we are working with Ari Lennox. That's what we do now. We sit in the room with Ari, we pass the mic around, and we come up with melodies. And, you know what I mean? So these are all things that you just throughout the years, you just learn things, you learn techniques, and you just apply it to your you put it in your arsenal of tools. You know what I mean? And then so when you're in situations, you're like, okay, I'm in the studio with so and so and so. She's a writer, but she collaborates well, or he collaborates well. Why don't we just plug a mic up and now just pass the mic around and figure out what's what? And, you know, depending on, you just have to just know how to navigate. That's really the gift of being a producer. You have to know how to navigate. Yeah.
If that blessed you, trust me, you've only scratched the surface. There's so much more wisdom, truth, and transformation waiting in the full conversation. Click the link in the caption below to watch the entire interview. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Vault Empowers Talks.